I used to trust my mind over my body. I thought logic was the only thing I could rely on. And for a long time, that protected me. It was also keeping me stuck at only 20% of what was possible. Hi, I'm Brooke, and I'm a life coach who helps people build their capacity to show up fully and freely to the people and projects they care about the most. And one of the things I'm learning about as a former hustler is feminine energy. In the modern West, we live in this culture where logic is king, and survival of the fittest has become more like survival of the smartest, and higher thinking is seen as a higher way of being. And while all of these are important skills, I needed to learn that elevating logic above everything else has actually done me a disservice. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my story so this makes sense. I used to put logic over everything else because it was the only thing I felt like I could trust. I grew up with a mom who was seriously mentally ill. And what came with that was a lot of erratic decisions. And those things impacted me on physical, emotional, mental levels. There was a lot of brainwashing and gaslighting, isolation, and I was missing a lot of good things that I really needed to thrive. So, with all this craziness around me, logic felt like firm, like grounded, it was solid. It was one of the only things in my life that brought me a sense of safety and stability. Fast forward and I move out of the house. I'm in college and PTSD sets in. I start having night terrors and panic attacks, hallucinations, intrusive thoughts, and even dissociative episodes. All of it. And it was extreme. I spent years seeking out help in the ways that I knew how, talking to different counselors or therapists, pastors, and even community workers. I found some help, but it only scratched the surface. I found myself really frustrated that it was all about understanding and managing symptoms. Like all I could ever hope for was to cope with it. And on the inside, I was like, no, I don't accept this. There has to be something better. So I dug down deep and I took every class I could find so I could understand stress and how it impacts the mind and the heart and the body and your health. This brought me to a few practices that actually helped me start to feel better. Can you guess what they all have in common? All of these practices that really helped me, they got me out of my head and into my body. And here's what I learned. 80% of our experience is influenced by subconscious information. How we feel, the choices we make, relationships we find ourselves in, these are all influenced by factors outside of our logic abilities. And where is the 80% of the subconscious information stored? Well, it's stored in the muscles, in the heart, in our gut. They all have neurons that hold memory and information. And these memory stores can access that information 10 times faster than our thinking brain ever could. So, learning this was crucial because it meant that if I stayed stuck in my head, in my logic, I could only ever get 20% better. So I began adding daily practices to help me check in with my body. At first, I felt a little bit stupid. I didn't know what I was doing, and it felt like nothing was really happening. But stress actually severs the mind body connection. So, for years and years and years, I had a very broken relationship between my thinking brain and my body. It took time and practice, but it did come. And I was able to get more clarity about what I wanted, what I needed, and why I was doing what I was doing. So here are a few things that changed for me. One, I was able to reclaim a sense of self and develop my own personality because I was actually getting in touch with what felt right for me. For most of my life, I actually couldn't do that. I had no idea what I wanted or what felt good to me. Two, I was able to be more compassionate and relational. I was more capable of being present with the people I love instead of just reacting to my environment. I also had better mental clarity and focus. Three, less pain. I used to suffer from chronic migraines and healed them naturally. I have a few theories on what helped me holistically, but here were some of the mind body connection practices that I attributed it to. The first is less tension held in the body, which impacts the muscles leading up into my neck and my back. The second is being in tune with my body and being able to listen to what food choices were making me feel good versus which ones were giving me inflammation. Third is less stress overall. So less stress means less inflammation in the mind, in the body, in the brain, and that makes for overall better functioning. Here's the next thing. I felt happier. I am more content now because I can make choices that are aligned with what's right for me. I'm not forfeiting my power to someone else out of resentment or out of codependency. Here's the last one. I feel more at ease. I used to feel like I needed to control everything around me in order to create a sense of safety, but I've been able to let go of a lot of that. And yeah, of course, that will creep up from time to time, and I have the tools to manage it, but I've been able to find so much more enjoyment in what is. I've been more accepting of people who think differently from me, just less resistance in my life and more ease in general. So if you've been living in your head, trusting only your logic, believing your mind is the only reliable thing you have, I totally get it, and I've been there. Logic saved me. It gave me stability when everything around me was chaos. But I also want you to know there's 80% more information available to you in your body. Your body knows things that your mind cannot access. Your body holds wisdom that logic alone can never find. And learning to trust your body, learning to get out of your head into your felt experience might be the most important thing you ever do. Now, I'm still learning this. I still practice. It is a daily life rhythm, but it was life changing. And if you want to understand how your body holds information and how to start accessing it, I have a free Skills for Resilience assessment. It helps you identify your patterns and help you look at areas that might be blocking your potential. The link is in the description. I'd love for you to take it and let me know what you find. Thanks for being here. I will see you next week.